Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, and all of our followers and supporters. This is a Real Talk message with Rev. It is the monthly vlog that I do on our church website. It is www.inclusion.church. That is the website. When you go to it, look at the top, you'll see some little buttons to click on. I'm not sure what those things are called, but when you click on the one that says blog, you'll see one that says Real Talk with Rev. And that's what this is. This is the message for April of 2023. I want to talk to you today about something which is important and dear to me. I just finished a trip and had some interesting discussions. As a matter of fact, actually, it was one of our last week's church services. Bishop John Sardi and Andrew Loki, Bishop Andrew Loki, they both and myself talked a little bit about this subject. But what it is whatever you focus on is where your energy flows. We all have heard this 1,000 times. It's talked about in every aspect of life. Whatever we focus on is where our energy flows. That's why positive thinking is important to me. Positive thinking, by the way, gets a bad rap. People say, isn't that name it, claim it stuff? I'm rich, even though you're not. No, that's not positive thinking. That's called ignorance. What positive thinking is it's a way of a belief system, a mindset. The mindset of if money is you're in a job and you want to become successful and be financially secure, then you need that positive mindset. So yes, you have to think like a person who is successful. To do that, you need to learn what that success is. So you do things like pick up books and you start reading. That's the first place you do is you start reading someone that knows more than you. Then you attend seminars and maybe you go to college. I'm not sure what it is. Some of us don't even go to college. We go to what they now call days these immersion classes, which are amazing ways for people. You could go spend only $2,000-$3,000 for a class that is an immersion class for a week with a friend of my friend Tony Robbins. You can get just immersed in him, or Deepak Chopra. He's amazing. You can go down to his facility in San Diego and spend a whole week and have your entire body analyzed and scanned. This is a man who's got his MD, all right? He's a doctor, but his MD came from Harvard. He's one of the most brilliant scientists and medical doctors in the world. And he's found ways to meditate that can change your entire physiology. So you can immerse yourself in these technologies. You don't have to go spend 4 years at a university anymore. I'm not saying don't go to university. I'm trying to explain there are ways that you can focus on areas, but here's what I know. I've also studied a lot of poor people, a lot of unsuccessful people, people who are always going bankrupt. Every 10 years they file bankruptcy. They've gone through 5, 6, 7 divorces. Why? Why are these people going through that? Well, when you study them, here's what you find out. Their focus was on it. I like to use myself as an example because I can't tell you necessarily. I can only quote what other people say about it. But with myself, I can tell you exactly because I'm an expert on me. And I had 2 marriages, my current one and a previous one. I was married for 19 and a half years. It was a horrible marriage that ended in a dismal, just travesty. Who do I have to blame for that? Truthfully, we both are to blame. I believe a marriage is a 50-50 thing. And at the end of the day, I go maybe even a step further and say I really was the one that spoke it into existence. I did. When we fight, I would always say, you're going to do this someday. I actually told my ex-wife exactly what she would do. You're going to cheat on me with this person, and that's what you're going to do. And it all came to pass. And you're going to do this, and you're going to take and kidnap my kids, and you're going to do, and it all came to pass. Everything that literally happened, I spoke about it year after year. My focus was on that. Interesting, isn't it? You see, when you focus on it all the time, it will manifest. Whatever precedes in here, whatever is going on in here, whatever you're meditating on and thinking on all day long will manifest itself in your life. So we have to have a belief system that allows us to focus on the right things. And what's interesting is it's when you talk to a person I use the word poor, and it doesn't mean finances. I know people who are multimillionaires. I even know a couple billionaires, and they got all the money in the world and they're miserable. So they're poor in my book. Money doesn't make you happy. I have access to millions and millions of dollars, and it doesn't depend. My happiness depends on nothing. I only live off of $1,500 a month, and I'm the happiest man I've ever been. Don't get me wrong. I have companies that bring in a bloody fortune, but that money I've chosen to just give it all away. And I do that in funding the projects that I love and cherish, and that means something to me, where I can really impact people's lives. But money to me means nothing. It's so easy to make. If I need to go make $1 million, it's like simple. It's not hard. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and you got to be smart and put your focus on what you want. So as an example, in my mind, when I was married to that first wife of mine, the ex-wife, I had this movie always playing, what would happen? And it manifested. I'm like, wow, that's really crazy. You see, I played this movie in my head so many times that it actually ended up becoming a reality. Has anyone ever done that? I mean, have you guys ever, be honest with yourself, have you ever played a movie over in your head? Have you ever noticed a drunk? You guys know someone who's a drunk? I mean, a complete drunk. They're a lush. They get out of work and they're cracking beers in the car on the way home, or they can't even wait to get home. It's only a 30-minute drive, but they got to stop like 5 minutes from there, get one beer at the bar they always get one beer at. And then they maybe get to the bar next to their house and they have 2 more with some friends. And then they get home and crack open the 6-pack and pass out on the couch. Anybody know those kind of people? Or maybe they're the ones that wait till they get home and they're perfectly sophisticated at work, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But they go home and they have to start doing heroin, cocaine, speed, or whatever the drug is of their choice. What's interesting is all they think about is that. That's it. It controls them. So much so that even when a friend of mine right now in town, he's struggling with a drug addiction. And he's on the peninsula here in Washington. And this friend of mine, he's very proud. He's always like, oh man, I haven't gotten high today. And I said, you're putting your energy into the wrong part. Stop talking about getting high today, how you didn't do it. You're focusing on getting high by doing that. How about you focus on what an amazing day it was to be sober? Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It's a small change. It's literally the words I just chose to change were so small that most people probably didn't even catch it. So rewind it and see what I just said. Man, I'm proud of myself today. I didn't get high. You're focused on getting high versus what a beautiful day it was today. I went to work. I had a great day at work. I had some people that really busted my chops. Man, it pushed me. But I was like, nah, life's so beautiful. I'm good. And then I came home and I saw my wife and my son and my daughter or my family. Ah, what a beautiful day to be sober. Yeah. You see, there's a way to focus on it and there's a way not to focus on it. And how you focus it, your energy's going to it nonstop. I have another man I work with. He wanted to quit a certain drug. And it's not an illegal drug. It's marijuana. But he wanted to quit it because he realized, his own words, he felt like it was keeping him in a fog. And so he decided to quit, but he wouldn't get rid of all the stuff he had. He kept all the paraphernalia. He's like, well, that's an expensive bong. I'll pay $100 for that. So I'm like, wait a second. Are you done smoking? Yeah, I'm done. Okay. Then burn your ship. See, burning the ship means he needed to get rid of all of his stuff. I don't care if you smoke weed or not. That's not my business. But here's what I care about. If you're telling yourself you're going to quit something, then you got to burn the ship and do it. You ever see that person that says, I'm going to quit smoking today after I smoke my last cigarette? They're never going to quit. That's not the one that's going to quit. The one that quits is the one that grabs the pack of cigarettes and says, I'm quitting, and just tears it up, throws it in the toilet and says, I'm done. Those are the people that actually end up quitting because their focus is just lasered in and their energy goes to whatever they focus on. I heard a seminar today. I was involved with a conference and there's a lot of good speakers. One of them said, if your marriage is falling apart, like if you're at the end of your marriage, why don't you go back and act like you did at the beginning of your marriage? Oh, I know right now I can feel someone just got stabbed. You're like, I don't want to be nice to him. He's not the same person. He farts all over the place and he never did that before. Well, if that is you, by the way, fella, stop farting in front of your wife. That's disgusting. I don't even pass gas. My wife's, I think, only heard me pass gas twice in my whole life. and it was on accident. And my point is, be a gentleman. But seriously, go back to the way you treated each other when you were dating and you were falling in love. Why don't you try going back to the beginning of your marriage? And then it won't be the end. Now, that sounded so simple. And I could see people struggling with it. Even myself, 3 years married, you change a little, right? Each one of you are changing and progressing. And I feel we're getting better. My wife feels we're getting better. We have mentors in these areas we have a couple mentors actually, because we know the value of a mentor. Now, what's funny is I looked at that situation and I said, wow, so go back to the beginning. I used to drive 4 hours just to drop off flowers to my wife. I lived 2 hours away and I would drive 2 hours down through traffic, which then added sometimes another hour. So 3 hours, drop off some roses on her step without getting a kiss or anything, and then leave and then drive 2 hours home and call and say, hey, babes, did you get I had a delivery coming for you today. Did you get that? No one's delivered anything. You sure? Go check your porch. Oh my God, flowers. How did you get those delivered? Well, I just dropped them off about an hour ago. What? And you didn't even come in and give me a hug or a kiss? No, I just wanted you to know you're that special. Huh. Maybe you need to do more of that, fellas. Maybe I need to do more of that. It's okay to check yourself, to really check yourself. I love one of the things. I've got 4 children that are alive. 2 of them are one's married and one's in a relationship, and I love hearing their stories about how they woo their wife and how they romance them. One of them, John, he's amazing. He goes to her. He's like a legend at her office. He not only brings her flowers and all these gifts, but then he'll bring treats and gifts for the other ladies and guys at the office, and they're like, "Oh, why can I have a man like that?" I would like to say that maybe he saw me do that with his mom. I don't know. I would like that. But I think it is just simply he's that kind of guy. The more I got to know him, because it was my wife's children that became our children. I don't call them stepchildren, by the way. I think that's a degrading term. And so I saw these 2 young men, and they're amazing and so romantic and creative ideas. Hey, guys, when was the last time you got creative? Hey, ladies, why don't you get off the old tushy and go find something creative? When was the last time you brought roses to your man? When was the last time you took something to his work? If he's a tool guy, bring him a tool. Hey, I got you a Milwaukee Sawzall. Don't know what it does. Costs a bunch of money, but here, honey. Oh, look what my wife got me, a Sawzall. I've been waiting for one. Ladies, when's the last time you've done that? This is a equal opportunity world. The days of the men are the ones that do it all, those things are gone. And we're an LGBTQ supported community. So I don't care if you're gay or straight, black or white, lesbian. I don't care what you are. You need to, you as a partner, 2 people need to focus on this. It's a 2-way street. If you want it, give it. If you want respect, show respect. If you want more romance, give more romance. You know, I always used to joke, but I realized something. You know, guys, we come home from work and we're like, hey, baby, I'm hot and sweaty and would like to have sex. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. No, how about you come home and you get a shower real quick and you do yourself up, you get your hair all done up, maybe even get dressed up a little. Set the mood. Inform her without informing her of your intentions, because you're focused on her. You're focused on wanting to make love to your wife or your husband, and you're focused on it. And it doesn't always work. Sometimes your partner's got issues. Sometimes there's medical issues. Sometimes there's pains in their body that stop them from doing things. Who knows? But you see, if you focus enough on it, eventually it happens more and more frequently. So I know one thing, whatever you focus on is where your attention will go. So the topic that my 2 of our bishops, John and Bishop Andrew, spoke on was they asked everybody, look around your room right now, but I want you to look for circles. So look around the room and find circles. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see a bunch of circles. Now, look around the room and look for squares. Whoa. Holy smokes. I have found 3 times as many squares without even looking around behind me. You see, whatever you're focused on is what you're going to find. I have a friend of mine, and he's a good friend, and he works in a place that's about an hour to an hour and a half to work every day. And it's sometimes a tough job. And this friend of mine always listens to the news on the way in and on the way out. And he listens to a specific channel, and all they do is spend the whole day telling you about all the drama that's going on in the country. Well, this president and that senator and this congressman and that governor. And it's like every time I see the person, the first thing out of their mouths are, oh, have you heard? No, and I really don't want to. Now, listen, I'm not telling you to stop listening to the news. My wife's like that. She won't even listen to the news. When I turn the news on, she'll leave. And that's okay, because that's what she needs to do to weed her garden. I like to pay attention to just what's happening. So I actually have done a lot of research to find news channels that can just give me the highlights of my day. You know, if there are any major bills passed in our Congress and Senate, has anything happened in Olympia and Washington where I own properties or I have companies and things? Is there any world crisis? Did Putin drop a bomb in another country that I didn't, know about today? You don't know. So for what I do, if I'm going to be heading off to some country to do business, I sure want to know what's going on over there. So you can't just be ignorant, walk around like this with your eyes closed. And my wife doesn't do that, but she chooses how she gets her information. And it's enabled me to do even a better job of it myself. And so this person, all they focus on is that. Now, what's interesting is they are actually very negative person. And everything is always someone else's fault. Everything is someone else's fault. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is falling down. The roof's falling, the sky's falling, the earth's shaking. Ah! Meanwhile, I'm living this great life. And I'm like, oh, that's sad, because I have this beautiful life. I just was getting back from a trip, a spiritual retreat. I went to a special falls where the ancient Medu believed that the earth was created from. And there's some beautiful waters that are healing and magical waters. That's all I can tell you about it. And they are. And we drank from it and bathed in it and just saturated ourselves in it. And then we had so much fun, and we were fishing and doing all these things, getting to become deeper in our spiritual walk. And we sat out we rented a couple places and cabins on a river and bonfires and sat around them for hours into the evening until almost 12:30, just enjoying conversations about life and how we see things spiritually, learning different ways to maneuver, focusing our attention on areas that really might need it more than others so that our energy is flowing to the right place. I love my life. People always tell me, I'm jealous. I wish I could be like you. I just took a trip this weekend, took a bunch of guys to the Big Four ice caves. None of these guys have ever seen an avalanche. Now, you don't want to see one, by the way, up front. They're dangerous, they're scary, they're deadly. But it is something it's almost an awe moment, like, oh, wow. And we caught it on film. The earth started shaking from a far distance. The rumble was so big, and it was a 2,000-foot long avalanche with hundreds of feet wide. It looked like a river, massive one, just pouring down this mountain. Amazing. I get to go to places that most people dream they could go to. My wife and me, when we take a trip for the church, we get to enjoy the trip. We were able to minister to people and meet with contacts up and down from the Mexican border on Highway 1 all the way up to the top of Washington, see some of the most beautiful restaurants, eat at Clint Eastwood's restaurant, an old place where I used to go with a mentor of mine who introduced me to the old Clint Eastwood himself, old Dirty Harry. You feel lucky, punk? Do you? What a great time. I don't have to do anything tomorrow or the next day. I don't have to do anything today or this week. I choose to, because I love what I do. I love freeing people from the mindsets that they've been just beaten down into by people who are ignorant, and sometimes beaten down into themselves by themselves. So that life, that's because of the positive mindset. That's because it doesn't mean I'm hiding in a closet. Oh, I don't see anything. There wasn't 25 people shot in that building. I didn't see that. No, I just don't need to focus on it. I don't need to meditate on it. I don't need to put all of my energy into it. As some of you know, with my amazing health, I see both Western doctors and Eastern medicine doctors, and they are doing amazing things. And so, one of the things I learned with like acupuncture and pharmaceuticals from Eastern medicine far outdo. They actually cure things where Western pharmaceuticals right now can't really cure stuff. They just put band-aids on it. But the future technology coming, the regenerative sports, organs and things, and being able to live longer and healthier, these things and the technologies are right around the corner. I mean, they're exploding right now. But the Eastern pharmaceuticals, they're totally different. They actually can cure things. They can clean arteries. No Western doctors ever been able to tell me that. And I've got proof that I have an artery that's actually clear that was clogged. So you've got two different sciences. And one of the things they do in the Eastern is they actually have me do acupuncture. Now, a lot of people will tell you acupuncture, when you put it in the needle in the spot, it's about energy. That's actually not really true. Okay. In some respect it is, but it's not. Here's what it does. When you stick a needle in that area, the leg, the thigh, the wrist, the area where my artery is clogged, and they put a bunch of needles in there, the needle pokes, and this beautiful thing called a mind and the body, it tells the heart and the mind, it tells everybody, hey, I need these T cells to come down here. And the best way to explain it is this. Your blood is like soldiers, right? They're the grunts. They're on the ground. Your T cells are like the Navy SEALs. They're like snipers. They're there for one solid mission and they don't fail. And so by using the acupuncture, it takes the blood flow and the T cells and it's calling the snipers down. And all of that energy, the blood, which has the T cells, this beautiful highway in our body, brings everything down that needs to help nourish my body and heal my body. Everything you need to heal yourself is inside of you. There's a monastery up in the Himalayas. A famous monk died, and his bones were put on display forever, a few hundred years now. And people came to get healed by this monk. Apparently, he had this ability to heal people. Now he's dead, and people still come to just see the bones. The belief to see them, that they'll get healed. And there's documented cases where people have been healed. One day, the monks in the monastery got up, and the bones were stolen. Eesh. We have people coming tomorrow. They're expecting a miracle. What do we do? And they knew who took it. Like, they actually had a really good idea who took it. So they were probably going to be able to get them back. But meantime, they came up with this great idea. Let's go over here. There's this one guy who was a horrible person. He was a murderer, a rapist, a robber, bad guy. And he died a horrible death. But no one's going to care. Let's just dig up his bones and we'll put them in the case. Nobody will know that they're not the monk who is the famous healer. And then when no one gets healed, we'll just come up with a reason why, Maybe the sun was blocking or the sky was blocking the moon or the sun or something, right? They had this great idea. So they did it. They opened the doors. The problem was it backfired. People still got healed. So was it the monk healing them? Was it the bones of the monk healing them? Because they put them bones of an evil man there and they still got healed. No, what healed them was themselves. The spiritual father, Vivi, that you have this little section up here dedicated to, used to always say this to me 1,000 times a day. Know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. The Christ in the Bible told all of us, you will go on to do greater things than I've done. You got to be kidding me. He raised dead. He walked on water. The last time I tried to walk on water, I flopped down like Shamu in San Diego at the big water park. Now I floated because I was 450 pounds, but I surely didn't walk on water. I floated on it. But see, this man taught me behind me how to know thyself, to know God. See, God is around us. God is with us. God is in us. and as us. We are one with God. My father, birth father, I'm half of him. There are things about him I don't like, traits that I have that I can't do anything about. I'm half him. My birth mother, I am half her biologically, but I was adopted also. And yet I hold traits from my adopted parents. People see my adopted dad in me and they're like, you can see you guys are father son. We just kind of chuckle and I say, yeah, he thinks he's as good looking as I am. my spiritual dad, Viv and me have the same belief systems. When you talk to me, people that know him are like, my gosh, you sound like Vivi. Well, I should. I have his traits. And so when you focus on the good in people and your energy goes to that, those traits come to you. These monks didn't heal them. They knew themselves. The people that were coming, like Vivi taught, know thyself. The healing is in you. It really is. The power is in your blood, in your DNA, in your cells. In your cells. Do you know if you stretched out all of your veins for your vascular system, it would equal 60,000 miles? 60,000 miles. When you get into the body and how amazing it is, if you were to stack every single cell in your body, it would go to the sun and back 2.5 times. This is what's inside of you. You have the power of creation within you. Some people in this world tap into it and they do amazing feats. Look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was an atheist, but yet when you asked him, where did you come up with the concept for Apple? He'll tell you. He was on a retreat with a bunch of people that were meditating, a bunch of Buddhists. But he wasn't, because Buddhism isn't a religion. Most people think it is. It's not. It was a philosophy. The Buddha himself said so. So he was like, I can get down with that. It's not a religion because I don't believe in a God. Yet, at this retreat, he tapped into something in this meditation. And boom, this creation idea of his came into existence called Apple. I hold the phone in my hand because of that man. So who came up with the idea? He didn't say he sat there and tried to write it all down and create it. He said, I was meditating and boom, this idea popped in my head. Everything you want is inside of you. What are you going to focus on? Focus on whatever it is you want and your life and all of your energy will go to that. And hopefully you pick the right thing to focus on. If you're not sure what to focus on, you need a mentor. And if you do, reach out to TCI, folks. We have some of the greatest people on staff. We've got bishops all over the state. We have bishops that have doctorate degrees in psychology. We've got therapists. We've got businessmen. We've got entrepreneurs, millionaires, 1 billionaire. We got a lot of people in our life and in this organization that love to help people. We give our life free of charge. I might add, I don't take except $1 a year from my salary. And no one else in the church or the organization takes any money anyways. It all goes to our members. And why is that important? Because we're sincere. We really do just care about you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see your focus go to the right things in your life so that your energy flows to that and that your mindset helps you accomplish all that you want and all that you can have. I love you guys. You know the drill, live positive. But as you live positive this week, do me a favor. Look at what you're focusing on. Let's evaluate the past 30 days of your life, the past 1 year of your life. Matter of fact, I would even say as far as to go back to the beginning of your life. And in doing so, look at all the things that failed and see where your attention went. Now, don't spend too much time on the failures because I want you to also focus on the things that were successful and how those things succeeded. Okay? God bless. Please look up the website, www.inclusion.church. Get on there and see the blogs that are out there by Bishop John Sardi and Bishop Andrew Loki and myself. And very shortly, Dr. Vance Whippo. We love you guys. God bless. Yo!